Yeah, against this right back, Charlie.
You always just that active and defending. I think it's like.
Are we live? People, deluded. I'm back again. I've got Mr. Hollywood, Mr. Curtis Shaw TV, ex-professional footballer and them things there, man. Thanks for blessing us small time.
DG. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. What made you hit that, by the way? Like, you got no right to hit that from there.
Honestly, I was drinking before the game and I was on this George Best thing, so I just thought, let me bang it. Like, literally. I thought I was being closed down, bro.
What a goal.
Hey, man, I'm sure you got there, man. I'm just spinning the same one for 50 years. You know us fullbacks, we're not supposed to be there, bro.
No, you're not, man. You're not. But yeah, man, what's happening, man? Good to be here, bro. Good to be here.
Good to have you back, my guy, man. It's been a while. I know I was on your channel last week, and obviously we're here now, but it's something that needs to get going. And obviously, where Arsenal's concerned, it's great. You know, there's all smiles and whatnot. I wanted to just, again, I've got my questions, but yeah, man, literally just want to ask you on Watford's game, your opinions on Arteta, how the summer signings are doing, so on and so forth. Standard procedures, bro. So let's jump straight into it, man. Watford game, talk to me, man. How did it go for you? What's all your opinions, man? It wasn't the cleanest of games now, was it?
Do you know what? It's one of them, innit? Like, at this stage of the season, it's just get the 3 points. But there were a lot of very good things in that game. Like, I thought the goals that we scored were exceptional. Like, they were like Wenger days goals.
What's your favorite one?
You know, which one do you think was the best one? I'm trying to even think.
That's what I'm asking you, bro. Because the Odegaard's one was dirty. Martinelli's one is dirty. Saka's one is disgusting. Like, I'll probably say Martinelli's, you know, just because.
Yeah, because the flick round the corner from Odegaard, the set from LACA, and then first time top bins. Them goals, man. Them goals was like rolling back the years, man. I enjoyed them goals.
Muscle memory, Wenger ball and that.
Yeah, Wenger ball rolling back the years. I think, like you said, the thing that wasn't like clean about it is we kind of, you look at that game, you think we shouldn't have conceded 2 goals. Like the first one, all right, it's a goal that he wouldn't score it if he hit it another 30 times probably, but still can Cedric or Ben White get tighter? And the second goal for me is a shambles. I got to be honest. I mean, you're a defender. You probably got more of an outlook on it than me, but it's avoidable in so many ways. Xhaka with the sloppy pass, then Ben White gets done too easy. Even Ramsdale, for me, gets his angles wrong, kind of dives over the ball. So,
like, I mean, listen, against Spurs the other day,
yeah, like it's just one of them, because you always have this thing with Arsenal that, well, if we're playing a better team there, that could have gone wrong. But I think, you know what, let's focus more on the positives. It was a good win. They beat Man United at home. They drew with Man United away. So even though we look at the table and we say, oh, we should roll Watford, you still got to beat these teams. They're trying to survive. They're not just going to roll over. So I think overall it was a positive display. You know, the wingers scoring goals, Odegaard and Saka, I thought was just on another level. LACA obviously getting the assists. We want him to score, but, you know, at least he's contributing in that sense.
Yeah, there's nothing in it.
I think overall it was a positive win, but we still got to tidy up a little bit, like you said there.
You said some great points, and this is where I feel like, and you probably see it on your channel, when you're in these delicate moments, this is where you need to approach Arsenal with extreme balance. It's like some of the things you said there, you're either positive as Larry or you're negative Nanny. And you're right there. I feel the positives, as you said, the way we played football, I do like in the last couple of games, things haven't necessarily started well, but we've responded to it and got the results. The goals for me, I feel as we've got to this high standards now, same way we're waffling about the goals we scored, we need to want that clean sheet, because personally I think we gave it away. And I think, I don't know about you, how you feel, but I feel in the last 3 games or so against Brentford, Wolves, and obviously now, I think we've been giving away goals that shouldn't have. Like you said, the first one, I think was too open on the transition for as good as we were. We're not following runners. We're not stopping the cross. The last one, you mentioned Xhaka. Xhaka's actually lost the ball. Him and Partey are not following Sissoko. Ben White's got twisted up. As you said, I feel it's a bit harsh me blaming Ramsdale for the 2 goals. Potentially could have done better, man. man. So it is what it is. What do you make of the young players though? Because it's scary, man. Like it's honestly scary. You know, Martinelli. I'm not gonna lie. I feel, you know, the goals and turning it away, we kind of gas up the performance a bit, but Martinelli doing the job. Smith Rowe and Saka. Smith Rowe's playing no part, but Saka doing the bit. Smith Rowe's there. And then you've got Mr. Martin Odegaard, who's a bit older than them, but it's like I don't know. It feels like Arsenal fans, we don't gas up his thing enough. So it's like, where are you at with Odegaard now? Do you buy into the Ozil comparisons? Is there a long way to go? Where you at?
No, listen, I think he's a similar player. I think his footballing IQ is, you know, up there as probably the highest in the club. You can see how he gets in them little pockets of space. He always seems to have time and space on the ball. And sometimes we do this. I don't know why. Sometimes certain players we hype them and some we don't. I think in the summer the general feeling was go and get maybe Maddison, because I think when Odegaard came on loan, we weren't wowed by him. Let's be honest. He came in, he was tidy, he helped, but we weren't like, yo,
he's in his shell a bit.
Yeah, but sometimes a player needs that settling in period, that pre-season, that, you know, now he was probably staying in a hotel when he came on loan. Now he's probably bought a house or rented a house. Everything psychologically is different. So I got to be honest, I've always rated Odegaard, but I didn't feel he was productive enough at the start of the season. But I think we're seeing it now, and I think, listen, I think Arsenal fans are right to gas him up. Like, don't overhype him, of course, but I mean, he plays in a very similar way to Mesut Ozil. So I think we've got every right to enjoy him. I think Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, those guys are just, they're winning us the games at the moment. Let's be honest. They're the match winners. So you just want to see some of the experienced players kind of do it sometimes, because there will be games like even against Watford. Let's be real. Like Martinelli wasn't playing that well.
Several players weren't playing well. If we keep it a buck, I would say Saka, Cedric, Odegaard, probably Partey from the start to the finish for me, bro.
Yeah. But the goal turns around the player ratings that you're going to give him. I would have probably give him like a 6, but he scores. I'm like, yep, 7, 8. You know what I mean?
Trust me.
So I think, listen, the youngsters are performing. Just quickly, what you said there about the defending. I'm wondering if Cedric's come in and done well. I think he's done all right. I actually think going forward, he's probably better than Tomiyasu, but not defensively. I just wonder if that dynamic of having both fullbacks attacking is what's kind of making us leak goals a little bit more, because Tomiyasu kind of tucks in and becomes a third centre-back. So I wonder if, even though Cedric's playing well, if it's kind of changed the dynamics of our defence a little bit, and that's why we're conceding.
That's a great point. For me, I don't really, I think that could be it, but it's for me, I just see, maybe it's because I'm a defender, and I got a lot of hate for this. I think we're an improved defensive side. I don't think we're necessarily a good defensive side. Listen, statistically, anything that puts us up there, I can't disagree. I'm not hating on it. The minute Arteta came in, he did want to improve the atmosphere around the Emirates and defending, and he's done that. And I feel the wheels are in motion, but we're not really street smart. You know, at times, as you saw in the Watford game, we're not following runners. We're not tucking in. You know, no one's looked over their shoulder for that fantastic goal by, I can't remember his name, Chucho Hernandez. That's in our game. You go to the Brentford game. I'd even go back to Newcastle, Norwich, and them sort of games there at home where we've kept a clean sheet and it's not really a talking point, so we're shut up about it. And I feel that's the stage they're at. You know, I've got a lot of time for Gabriel and Ben White. Them defenders and Saliba, as you know, they're going to do dumb things. Would you make a Ramsdale? Because even Ramsdale, me and you spoke time ago how, you know, he's a good keeper and that, but it's like he's 23. People are talking like he's world class. I don't know if it's just you, but I feel his distribution in the last couple of games looking a bit dodgy. I feel while I love the passing and that, can he get back to basics and things? And as I said, he's going to go through good or bad moments. None of these players are the finished articles. What have you made of Ramsdale recently as well?
Yeah, he's had one or two shaky moments, to be honest. Listen, he's had a great season. I have to hold my hands up. When we signed him, I wasn't overly convinced, but he has had a very good season. I think he'll be thinking that he can push Pickford out of that England team if possible.
Rightly so.
You wonder sometimes, listen, you don't want him to believe his own hype too much. Just keep your feet on the ground and do what you've been doing well. Don't start thinking all of a sudden, I'm a top keeper. Like, just do what you're doing, because these little mistakes, even his distribution against Watford was a little worse than usual. You know what I mean? He was trying to play some wild passes. So I'm thinking, just get back to doing what you was doing, you know. But listen, I don't think there's any reason to worry there. I still think he's had a good season. I think he's probably in line to win player of the season at the moment. But yeah, he just needs to cut out them little errors, really.
Who would you say is, because I think Ramsdale's up there. I don't know if he wins it, but I think he's up there for Premier League player / signing of the season, more signing of the season. I think Odegaard is as well. Obviously, Odegaard in the last month or 2 months has really started to come to the fore. Ramsdale, as you said, people was relegation, this, that, and the other. He's come to his own. Which one would you say is the better signing then? Like, if you had to give one player of the season for our club, where would you stand? I'd probably lean towards Ramsdale because, I mean, he's transformed the thing. But where would you be as a striker? Like, where would you be? Maybe look at it differently.
No, I go Ramsdale because I think Odegaard started the season a bit slow. He wasn't even in the team at some stage. Was playing like Smith Rowe in the 10. I think Tomiyasu's been good as well. But obviously he's been out injured for a while. Ben White, I think, has been good, but I don't know. I'm still not all the way there with him.
What's there for you with Ben White? Sorry to cut you. What talk to me?
Do you know what it is with Ben White? Like, at times, I think when he gets isolated, he worries me a little bit. You know what I mean? I remember Jota spinning him all over Anfield. And the other day, the Sissoko thing, I'm like, that's just too easy. You know, I like solid defenders that are difficult to get past, that don't give you anything. He's good on the ball. He's clearly like a modern John Stones kind of defender. Just defensively at times, when he's isolated, I think he can be got at. I think if you was a striker, you would look at him and think, I'm going to get at him. Do you know what I mean? But listen, he's done well. I'm just still not all the way there with him. So for me, I would go for Ramsdale because I think, you know, he chose Leno over Martinez. And then a year later, you're bringing in a guy who's been relegated. He had a lot of pressure on his shoulders, to be honest, for a young guy. So I would go with Ramsdale at the moment. But obviously, a lot can change between now. And
you made a great point, and it makes me go back to what you kind of said before about just keep with Ramsdale, just keep doing what you're doing. And that's what gives me confidence, because obviously he's no idiot. He speaks about any opportunity. He knows that fans weren't necessarily convinced. The one person whose opinion just matters is Arteta, because he's parted with the cash and he's doing quite well. What do you make of Cedric? Because we touched on him, and just before I forget, like, obviously, where you at with him? Because you was bigging up Tomiyasu, as was I. I think I speak for you when I say, listen, Tomiyasu is number one. He might not be the most amazing going forward, but what he gives us defensively is a breath of fresh air. Now, Cedric, you know, we was very vocal when he's getting ripped against Sunderland and all them things, but in his last 3 or so games, he's done his thing, really. You know, he could have done better for this goal, like the whole team, but he's done his thing. And as you said, experienced players at this moment in the season, you need that in it. So where you at with Cedric? You know, does Tomiyasu face a fight to get his number one shirt back for you if he's fit?
No, I do think Tomiyasu gets his shirt back. I can't lie, because when I look at the fixtures that we've got coming up, I'm like, you know what? We're playing Liverpool, we're playing United, Tottenham. You're going to play against Tottenham. You know what I mean? Luis Diaz and these, man, that's the next level. So, do you know what? I think Cedric's shown that he's an able deputy. I got to be honest, though. I felt earlier in the season like he was probably done at Arsenal. He had a few shaky games, and I thought January he might be out of there.
Trust me.
Obviously, they let Chambers go, and kept him. So he seems to me like a player that's happy to be at Arsenal, probably happy to be a squad player. He's not going to pick up those wages anywhere else at this stage in his career.
And the length
experienced player. I think he's an all right backup. Like, you know, you don't want Tomiyasu to be out for too long, which is a little worry at the moment. But like I said, the one thing I do believe Cedric is better going forward. And he's got a great delivery. And I think he helps Saka, because when you overlap, you pull a defender away, don't you? You give Saka that little bit more space to go and do his thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if Saka likes playing with Cedric more.
I mean, you say that, and I agree with you, but it's like I'm seeing Saka just moan at man, and I agree with you. Obviously, that's one thing we used to run with Cedric, with Pepe, is that he overlaps. So what he might look shakily, he might go forward. Do you think with Cedric's, I don't want to say emergence, but with his re-emergence or showing that he's got some youth, obviously 4 games is a wild one. Would you say that tips your summer business? Because a lot of people would have had backup right back on the agenda. Would you say maybe you don't necessarily need that? A couple bob could go elsewhere, maybe a more experienced centre half, midfield, or where you are a striker, you can see Arsenal need a striker. So does it change your opinions with a backup right back for you?
I think it depends who we go for. Clearly, Tomiyasu's probably physically had a little bit of a breakdown, struggling to cope with the Premier League and the intensity. So we need a good second choice right back. And again, it depends what competition we're in next season, you know, because if you're in the Champions League, you need a better second choice right back. I mean, I know they've been talking about Spence and things like that. I think personally they would still look to maybe upgrade Cedric if possible, because I think you almost need two kinds of fullbacks now. I think you need that. I know they've talked about Lamptey a number of times. I think it'd be good to have two totally different right backs. Tomiyasu, I think, can also play maybe in a back three as well in the central area. So, I mean, Cedric's doing all right, but I would still like to maybe see a right back come in and maybe let him go if we could get somebody that was better than him. But it's not my number one priority in that sense. You know, like you said, we need a striker, maybe even two. We need probably two centre mids if El Neni goes. I think, you know, what happens with Saliba as well. So, yeah, I would have a right back on the list, but not at the top.
Obviously, I don't want to do Tomiyasu dirty because I feel as much as we like exciting players and Odegaard, and it's easy to gravitate to a Ramsdale. I like competencies. There's just some luxury that I know. Tomiyasu's human. He's gonna have an off day. He's gonna have a bad day. But 9 times out of 10, he's not. It's not that. Do you feel though, not to do him dirty, but do you feel you could sign an upgrade on him and he could be that rotation / whatever option? Saying that, as you said, you mentioned Lamptey. That's about 50 M's or something along them lines. Do I see us doing that? And as you put rightly, a couple of midfielders and a striker, probably not. But is there a reality where that could happen for you?
I do think there's room for that. I do, because you know, Tomiyasu has been good, but he is. I don't want to say limited, but he's not kind of what the modern fullback is in a sense.
Basic,
like everyone else's fullback is doing what Trent and Reece James, them man all bombing on. You know what I mean? Where Tomiyasu doesn't do that. So
does the narrow invert and underlap.
Yeah. So listen, I do think there is room to go and get someone else, but I think, like you said, man, I just couldn't see him dropping that kind of money on a right back with the other priorities we've got. So it'd be interesting. It wouldn't surprise me. You know what Arsenal are like? Wenger used to need, you know, a defensive midfielder who go and sign a number 10 when we had about 3 of them. So it wouldn't surprise me with Arsenal, man.
Generally, what have you made of the back five then? Because obviously we've spoken of them like individually and collectively. You know, it seems like we've got a good foundation. We indirectly spoke of Ben White's mistakes. Gabriel has a clanger in him, if we're honest. Saliba, as good as he's been in France a couple of times. Where are you at with this defense as well, collectively? And what are you looking at from the future of them?
Do you know what? What I like about the defense now is like when everyone's fit, we know what the back five is going to be.
Me.
And that's a positive, you know. When you're thinking about the team or you're doing your preview, you're like, back five picks itself. We don't even need to talk about it as long as they're fit. What I will say, I think, you know, we've still got quite an inexperienced defense. And I think you see that naivety at times. I think Gabriel sometimes too eager to go and win the ball all the time. Sometimes just stand the player up. Ben White, I do think has done well. But like I said, I have still got a few question marks over him. What I would say is I think they need to show a bit more when we play the better teams. Because I was looking at the stats, like played Man City 5-0, concede 2 at home, you know, Liverpool away 4, Chelsea at home 2, you know. So we've conceded 13 goals against the top 3 in 4 games, which is too many. Which, you know, I think when you're playing against teams that move a bit more and get you thinking a little bit more, we seem to struggle to deal with it. Obviously, some of that is to do with the midfield helping the defense as well. So I think they're improving. I think they'll get better and better as time goes on. Do we need an experienced centre-back? Maybe. But, you know, the ones we've had, your Pablo Mari's, your Holdings, they're not the answer.
Don't he?
They're not the answer. So I don't know. Listen, like I've always said to you, I'd love to see Saliba come back. Sometimes, like I said, players do get overhyped because you just have this reality. It's like the forbidden fruit, innit? We ain't got him there. So, you know, we think he's unbelievable.
That's the guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably going to be the same when he comes to Arsenal, make mistakes, not used to the Prem, you know. But I'd like to see Saliba come back. And, I mean, do we need an experienced player? I don't. It depends what competition we're in again. If you're in Europa League, you can run it with Saliba and maybe a Holding. But if we're in the Champions League, might have to go and get another top centre back.
And that's where it's a bit political, because for me, I think you kind of, you've probably spent 70, 80 million on them 2 first choice centre halves. You might as well run and play them. But for me, it's a thing where, football's a squad game. Same way when you're in form, everything Ben White and Gabriel at times has been amazing. There's going to be times, not just them, but everybody, where it's going poor. And sometimes I feel if you could get that experience, mid to late 20-year-old, maybe even 30-year-old, that could either come in, or someone that could, I can't see us signing an upgrade. I mean, I saw Skriniar yesterday and I would love that, but I can't really see it happening. So you're right. And in relation to Saliba, I feel sorry for him in the sense of, it's almost like it's impossible for him to really succeed in that. With every game, good or bad game, as you know, he's either going to be the guy or not the guy. We've been here several times. I think just from looking at him at Marseille, he's been amazing 9 times out of 10. But there's, he had a terrible game against Nice at right back. What was it? There was another game as well where he struggled. I've done loan reports on him. So it's just, it's nothing to do with him struggling, bro. It's just, that's your age, innit? And when you've got 3 of them, as you know, at some point, that's going to cost you points. Now, we got away with it in the last 2 games, but that is going to cost you points. So I might look at it, but on one hand, I think we should get one. On the other hand, I feel, you spent too much money to not do that. I have a duty to ask you this, and I can't really stand the slander that he's starting to get from Arsenal fans. I think they're being quite disrespectful to the Flying Scotsman. What have you made of Tierney? I know we started the season slow, but I just feel man have been on him. I think it's because we've actually got other 4 decent members now, so he looks he don't look as wavy, because these lot can do their jobs. But what have you made of Tierney? I'm not gonna cap against Watford down that right hand side. Our left, I think we was getting terrorized. I think we was looking booky. But what have you made of him, man?
I mean, look, I've had a few questions about him as well. And again, sometimes I'm telling you, man, do you know what, though? Like you just said, sometimes I have to step back and go, do you know what? He was in a back 4 with Holding and David Luiz and Hector Bellerin. So he looked like a world beater next to them guys. Now we've lifted the level of the other 3. Maybe he doesn't stand out as much. So people are going, is he actually as good? I think with defenders, when you're not really talking about them, they're probably playing pretty well. No one's getting the better of them. They're not making mistakes. He's just handling his business. I do, like you said, against Watford, the thing that surprised me, though, was that they targeted him. Like, you would have thought Cedric's at right back, they're going to go for him. But they kind of was doubling up on Tierney. I don't know if Martinelli wasn't helping him enough, but they definitely was aiming for him. The one thing I would say with his crosses, what do irritate me sometimes, is I think sometimes pick somebody out, or maybe whip the local. All these high floated crosses, I'm like, bro, no one's heading that in for Arsenal. Do something a little bit different. But I don't think there's any reason to make a big deal of it. Tierney's been fit for a lot of the season, which is positive. Usually this brother was going down, getting injured every other game. Do you know what I mean? So I think he's probably a future captain as well. They keep giving him the armband every time LACA comes off. So I think he's probably future captain. I don't think there's anything to worry about, really. I think he's been pretty solid.
You're right, man. Obviously, let's move into midfield now. Before we talk about Thomas Partey, let's talk about your good friend Granit Xhaka. What have you made?
There he goes.
Yeah, we have to. You know what? We have to, because
go on.
I'm not a Xhaka hater. Do I think he's good enough to build the team around and things like that? Of course not. I don't think he's as good as Xhaka sexuals. I don't think he's terrible. I do, bro. I just feel we're gonna live or die by this midfield, and if we're serious, we need to upgrade on that. Now, fair enough, he's doing his job. He does a lot. He's done this in previous weeks, this withdrawn sort of 8 where he tucks in at left back. In recent weeks, he's flying kind of further forward and leaving Partey as a lone 6, where I think they're starting to shine a bit better. What have you made of the midfield, man? Because we have been saying it, going back to before we started doing the live streams again. If we go all the way back to when we was last on your channel, we were saying, all right, the defense, them man, they're building blocks, the youngsters, it's that middle third now. And me and you, we keep saying it, number 8, midfield, we're not this, we're not that. What have you made of Granit Xhaka's performances so far?
Do you know what? I have to give him some credit. He has played well recently, especially. I think going through that January and Xhaka was out, Partey was, I got so desperate that I was like, yo, when Xhaka back? Like, that's how bad it was, bro.
True, you're not alone. You're not alone.
That's how I felt. Like, I was like, nah, these men. But do you know what? I give him his credit. He's played well recently. And, until the end of the season, we know Xhaka and Partey, that's our best midfield pivot. That's what we need to get us into the top 4, hopefully. I just don't want Mikel Arteta to get caught up on emotion that even if we hit the top 4 with Granit Xhaka and Partey, Xhaka has to get upgraded. You know, I don't want him to get like, oh, this guy got us there, so we won't buy a midfielder or we'll buy a young one that just plays back up to him. For me, I still look at, you know, Man City away, red card, Liverpool away, City at home gives away a needless penalty. I always say with Xhaka, he's a ticking time bomb. Like, he will play well for 4 or 5 games and then something stupid happens. So, but I'll give him his due. He's been better, you know, since he came back from injury, and the manager clearly likes him. But for me, in the summer, you've still got to upgrade him. Now, that doesn't even necessarily mean you have to sell him, even if he becomes 3rd choice, 4th choice. But just the way he is, I kind of feel like if he wasn't starting, he wouldn't want to be here because he's got quite a big ego. So yeah, listen, he's playing well, but for me in the summer, you got to bring in someone better.
I mean, you said it all there. For me, I actually feel Xhaka's useful in the squad. It's actually an unpopular opinion. I feel we could talk about the young players that Arteta's improved. I actually feel Pepe, who can't get a game really, and Xhaka look more all-rounded under Mikel Arteta. Now, as you said, the emotional thing, because again, at one point, Xhaka was public enemy number 1. Arteta backed him in the club. He's one of the first names on the team sheet, and he's a character. And, you know, similar to a lot of these players, you know, on one hand, we should have bought in January. On the other hand, they got us here. I agree with you on that. It's almost like Arsenal fans, we do that. We're like, well, you lot helped us here. We're going to keep riding with you lot, where we need a degree of ruthlessness. I think he should be part of the squad and not forced out. If offers come, entertain it. If there's any realm of shouts and whatnot, he needs to keep it moving. What have you made of Partey? Because I think we're finally starting to see why we activated his release clause finally. Like, what would you say has been the change? Is it because he looks like it's more of a 6 sort of thing? Is it a mentality thing? Is it like he's come back from AFCON and he's serious? Is it everything? Is it just one of them things? Where you at with Partey? What is it for you?
Do you know what? I think it's, again, similar to like what we're saying with Odegaard. Like, you got to think, last season we bought him on the last day of the transfer window. So he had no period of settling in. There's no preseason. There's nothing. You're just in the Prem. He clearly wasn't ready for it physically or whatever. He kept breaking down, kept getting injured. We were rushing him back.
Facts.
There's times the man's limping off. Arteta's pushing him on. It was all going wrong.
Arteta loves it.
You know what I mean? But we saw individual games. Like, I remember, you know, the Old Trafford game when he, you know, mashed up Pogba and Bruno and that. I think now, like you said, he's had the preseason. He's built the partnership with Xhaka. He's gone to AFCON. Seems to be, you know, playing injury-free now. And I think we're seeing the real Thomas Partey, and it excites me because I think if he's playing this good now, imagine how good he would be with an even better midfielder next to him, you know. And so, listen, I love Partey. I've got to be honest. I think he's a beast of a player. The shooting, I mean, that's a whole different story.
You need to go teach him, bro. You learn a decent little bit.
You need to go teach him.
You're the forward, bro. I mean, Uncle Partey, I don't know Partey, man. I don't know for them shots, bro.
He's gonna slap one in the top corner eventually.
Do you think it's actually gonna happen though? Because we need a national holiday, man. Like, when that happens, bro. Like,
bro, surely one time he just licks one top corner, man. I don't know when, but he was close on Sunday. That little left foot curl.
He's keeping them down. I give him that.
Yeah, I'm hope every time he shoots, I'm just like, oh, don't do it, please. But I don't know. But in terms of his all-round game, though, I think he's a beast. I like him. I think we're starting to see the best of him, man. But we've got to get the most out of him now because he's like 28, 29 in his. So we ain't got long to kind of have him settling in.
And you said it there. That's for me where I'm a bit different with the experienced players. It's all fun and games talking about Saka, Smith Rowe, and all growing. It's another story whether we'll see the fruits to their labors. But when you're, you know, it's the experienced players. That's why I'm a bit harsher on the Cedrics, whether they're rotation players or Partey or Xhaka. And we're not like United in the sense of we look a bit more healthier. There's slightly less love dramas. But it's like if you was to go through our experienced players, you'd have an asterisk over more of the experienced players, whether it's a loss of form, are they going to be here, etc. etc. And I want to demand a bit more. Speaking of experienced players, Lacazette, what are you making of Lacazette, man? Like, obviously he might not, like, he lacks goals, but he's adding balance to the team. He's getting assists. Where are you at with this contract business as well with Lacazette?
Yeah, with LACA, man. Do you know what? it's a mixed bag with LACA. I find it hard to even
Facts.
talk about him. That's how bad it is, because
He's an
I
enigma.
kind of feel guilty when I even say something bad about him,
So
because
you're doing the man them dirty. Exactly. I feel
yeah,
the
like
same
I
way.
feel like he's so committed to the cause. You know, you can tell how much Arsenal means to him, and that means a lot to the fans. You know, he works hard. He gives us everything. You know, sometimes he comes off the pitch, he looks exhausted, like
Shattered, yeah.
yeah, he gives us everything. Look, at the moment, he's playing a vital role in this team because he is the link man. Everything goes through him. You know, a couple of them goals, the assists were brilliant. You know, you can see the young players vibe with him. I think he's
like their favorite uncle, really.
yeah, man. He seems like a more mature leader than maybe a certain Aubameyang that left. You know what I'm saying? LACA ain't turning up late and all of that. So it's just, for me, again, I would be on the same thing as like what I'm saying with the Xhaka thing. Like, and obviously his is different because Xhaka's contracted. I said before, if LACA would take like a 1-year deal with maybe a 1-year option, and
That'd be good, you know.
you might be second or something choice or whatever, I would consider it, but I don't think he will accept them circumstances, because when you're reading that the Leon chairman saying we're going to do everything we can to bring him back, still talks to him, he's going to surely give him 2-3 years if he can get him on a free. So that's where I think the problem's going to be. And I think that's where Arteta's at, because we've been in this position before. We gave Ozil a contract. Ozil was on fire at the time as well. Aubameyang was on fire. Now, I know their contracts were longer and more expensive, but did we get caught up in emotion? We don't want to do that again with LACA. I was looking that we haven't signed a striker since Aubameyang, and that was Arsene Wenger. So Unai Emery and Arteta haven't bought a striker between them.
Literally.
And I kind of just think we need to freshen it up. I would like to see 2 new strikers at Arsenal with something different, full of energy, pace, maybe some height as well. If my hand was forced on it, reluctantly, I would probably let him go. I've got to be honest. So I don't like saying it, but that's just kind of where I'm at with LACA, man.
You're not wrong, bro. I think, you know, as you said, we need to stop doing the emotional thing. I think when you remove emotion, Lacazette is a hot and cold player. You look through the whole season, there's times he does better and whatnot. Part of the squad, fair play. I'm here for it if there's favorable terms. The problem is the knock-on effects, you know. Who are you going to bring in and things like that? For me, LACA might sign a new deal, but I think the silence is golden, in it. We're talking about tying down Saka, Saliba, Martinelli. These are contracted until 2024. So I think it is what it is with LACA. And I mean, as much as LACA likes being here, we have to discount that he might not want to be a side man. He might want to change things. He might be happy living in London, but want to do elsewhere. Like you said, the security of a contract. He's one of these hot and cold players, and I feel like I'm doing him disgusting, but it probably is for the best. And I don't know about you, but when I look at it on a cynical one, I sit there and I say to myself, should I really praise a man for hard work and link up? Like, these are things that are given, really and truly, and
100.
we're really kind of overcompensating because he's not bringing goals. Obviously, we've been linked with a lot of strikers, man, and not to put you on the spot, not that to say me and you can decide anything, but what would be a striker you would like? Clearly, we need someone that Arteta wants, someone that can drop deep and do all of them things like LACA. But I looked at Arteta's comments the other day, and he kind of basically said, listen, the striker's first job is to score. Now, it don't look like there's a million strikers to choose from. Everyone presents a risk. Who's the strikers out? You know, is there a target? Is there 2 targets? Who would you like, or what sort of thing would you like up front if you could?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because, you know, we're talking about these strikers every day on these streams, and I look at a lot of them and I think, well, I like him, but there's something not, you know, there's no striker I'm looking at, I'm thinking he's got it all. He can hold up, he scores 20. Do you know what I mean? Like, I looked at Isaac, 4 goals this year, Isaac. Do you know what I mean? Jonathan David, you know, people saying he's better in a 2. He's been a bit of a winger, kind of gone
good
through
for the squad, not the guy sort of thing.
Do you know what? The one I like, and again, he's a raw talent for some reason. I like Osimhen at
I like him a lot. He needs to stay on side, but I like him a lot. He looks like out of all the guys we're linked with, he looks like one of the strikers that he lives for goals. Like, and it sounds dumb, but in the modern day, I don't think too many strikers are happy to score. I think they'll be happy to do the playmaking thing. Osimhen, he hangs on the last man and whatnot. I do like Lautaro Martinez, but if I'm honest, he's been stinking up the banger yesterday, but been stinking up the place. I think he's only got 17 goals and 24 years of age. It might be that time for him to go up, but there's that. I don't know where you at with the Dominic Calvert-Lewin and the Watkins thing. I'm not really for it. I'll get behind what Dominic Calvert-Lewin a bit more, but it's
to me, like I look at them two, I think we're trying to go to the next level, man. I definitely don't want Watkins and Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin gets injured all the time. That's the only thing. Muscular injuries as well. I suppose the only thing, if Everton got relegated, you'd get him cheap. You know what I mean? You get a big discount on him. It's tough, isn't it, man? I don't know what they're looking for really, but yeah, I'd go for Osimhen. But the only thing with him, he'd be expensive. They paid 60, 70. Napoli are notorious, that chairman, man. He don't let no one leave on the cheap,
bro. Death row contracts. Look at Koulibaly.
Yeah, you can't get out of them deals until they're ready to let you go. So I don't know, man. I would take him, and then I don't know if they're going for him. You know, I think they're talking about this Darwin Núñez now.
I like him, you know, but
he's had a good season. He has had a good. I remember we played them last year, and I saw him. I thought there was a lot of hype around him. And this year, he's really stepped up with the goals and that. So, yeah, maybe someone like him as well. But it depends what they want. But I think they need two. I don't think they'll buy two expensive strikers. Maybe you get one who costs a bit. Like I've been saying for a while, I would take someone like Origi from Liverpool as a second choice, not as the first. Just as a plan B off the bench. Someone that can get goals.
Just be involved in about.
And you get him on a free. I think he's out of contract this summer as well.
So it'd be a fat signing on bonus for him. You're right, man. And it's like I look at someone like Tammy Abraham. I'm not gonna say I was 100. I'm still not 100% convinced. I wasn't really convinced in the summer, but he scores goals. He's scoring more at Roma. That's one that could be thrown in. I'd rather that than a lot of them other ones. Where are you at with the Borgia one? Because on one hand, I like him. You know, I think he's an animal. I think he's got development to be done. On the other hand, I'm not saying he's not gonna improve and whatnot. I feel there's a lot of conclusions made of someone that's just been doing this for 6 months, really and truly. Where are you at with the Borgia one? Because he seems to be one that I'm not going to say was linked with him last season, but ever since he's been at the minute he touched down at Southampton, Arsenal looking at him, Arsenal. Where are you at with someone like Borgia?
Yeah, I mean that feels like a big gamble for me. And do you know what? I like him. I've watched him a few times. I'm like, yo, this guy's a beast. This guy is a problem. It's just. He's still very early in that development stage. And you think, you know, have Arsenal got time to sign someone like him and try and develop him? Can he handle leading a big club? Can he go into Europe? Very different at Southampton, you know.
True.
You know, Danny Ings was banging goals in left, right, and centre at Southampton, but you know, sometimes different club, and Villa's not even that much of a step up. So I do like him, but you know, Chelsea are notorious in the transfer market. They ain't gonna let him go for 10 million.
We're gonna pay an arm and a leg, 100%.
They don't want sell-on fee, you know, all of that. So I like him, but I don't know if he's the one I would go for. To be fair,
you're right,
but he is good. He's a good.
Who are you looking for in midfield, man? Because obviously there's been Telemans, there's been Luiz, there's been Fabian Ruiz, there's been Alpha Melo, there's been Awawa, there's been Luis Paqueta now. Where are you at for the number 8 position? Because I'm with this Fabian Ruiz hype, but apparently he wants Real Madrid.
Hey, let me just respond, because a couple of people getting on to me about Origi. Let me just state my point quickly.
Do you know what? They didn't see the point, they saw the name. But
I got to give you the full point before they clip me up. I'm just saying as a backup. Right now, we're bringing on Eddie Nketiah as a backup. Would you rather bring on Origi as a backup? You know what I'm saying? Just to get you a late goal. You know, Trent whips in Origi. You know the thing, man. Last goal, you know what I mean? Late goal. I'm not saying to start. I'm saying as a backup, people. But yeah, back to your question anyway. Number 8.
Oh, man. Yeah, your midfielders, man. You've been linked with enough of them.
I mean, are we ever going to sign a midfielder from Lyon? Every midfielder, it's like, yeah, we wanted Tolisso years ago. How are we chased him every summer?
Zachary's coming into it now. Yeah, you're right.
Bruno's just sitting on the bench as well at Newcastle. He ain't even coming on.
This is it. Like,
do you know what I mean? Paqueta, I like him. He's a bit more attacking though, isn't he?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I know he can play as an 8, but I wouldn't put him in an 8. He's more of a 10. Can play on the flank, do the wide playmaker thing. He's more of a compliment, man.
Yeah, I don't know if we need that. I think we need someone to play next to Partey more than the 10. Do you know what? Tillemans, I think will go this summer. He's got a year left. Seems like he's not going to sign that new deal. He's not the most mobile, but he is good on the ball. I think deep down, Ruben Neves wants to come to Arsenal. I think
I
that's why.
forgot even him. I forgot about that one. I'm
Yeah, I
having him
think
to
that's
be
why he
fair.
throws them shots. Do you know what? I'll be honest, yeah. I like Renato Sanchez, you know. I know he's a
Same.
bit more, you know, he's not as disciplined. He goes a little bit more, but I don't know. I like that energy and
You see the
pace.
Chelsea game with Leo and Chelsea Leo, where Renato bossed it the other day. They lost, but he bossed it. He had a very good game. I was just watching that for Jonathan David, and the one thing I like about, to go over David, I like how he wins fouls and drops into midfield, but that's about it. But you're right on the Sanchez one. He believes in himself. For me, with the
Yeah,
Sanchez one, it just feels like, I don't know how you feel, but it's like, it just feels so obvious we're not doing it. Like, he's
yeah,
there.
yeah.
They know they want to sell, man. He's been there. He's been chatting to clubs. If man wanted him, like, he could have been here in January. So it's not like we're convinced. Would you make a Telemans? Because I like Telemans a lot, but I'm not gonna lie. A lot of things we criticize Xhaka. I'm not gonna say I don't see them in Telemans. Defensively, has
Yeah.
brain farts, like you said, mobility, wonderful on the ball. I'm sure you remember as well. We've been playing against him since he was 16, them Anderlecht days in the champ. So he's very cultured, but I just feel Arsenal fans, we do this thing where when we're linked with players, it's like we start making out that they're messiahs, they got no mistakes in them, there's nothing, and then we start doing the wow thing when we're surprised when they play. It's crazy.
No, you're right, you know, and this year especially, I've seen a few things in his game. I'm like, nah, I don't like that. Getting caught on the ball, you know, like you said, not the most mobile. I think he's better in a midfield three, really, than a two-man pivot. I think he was being linked with Liverpool, which I could see more in that three with all that energy around him, can get him out of trouble. And I think we need someone that's more comfortable on the ball that we can go through. I'll probably agree with that. I think Neves is actually better at that role than Tielemans is.
Same.
To
Telemans will do
play
more
next to
spectacular
Partey.
things, but Neves is more 5 out of 10, just keep things ticking in midfield, and that 100%.
Yeah. And I think we need a ticker, because you look at, like, you know, we keep saying he's kind of looking at the Man City setup and how they play and stuff like that. And I think, you know, Rodri is their ticker. You know, you need that kind of midfielder when you want to be possession based. You got Ramsdale in goal. You got Ben White. You need your midfielder there, maybe in Neves. You got your Odegaard. So the whole spine of the team there, you got somebody that's comfortable on the ball. So, yeah, I would probably go Neves over Tielemans, to be honest. But I think he'd cost more money, because I think he's got a couple years left on his deal. Tielemans only got a year left. So there's plenty of options, though. Plenty of options.
I mean, Neves is linked with Barca, so I'm not too sure. Just as you said
Yeah.
that, it made me deep, you know, like, I know we need a number 8, but it just made me realize even more that we don't actually play through the middle that much. And even when it's in the middle, it's come from the wide areas, like, apart with the exception of Saka nicking the ball off cleverly and smacking it in, you know, where Gabriel's tried to play the pass. Those goals have come from wide areas. And if I'm real, you know, it's not that I'm getting tired, but it's like, it's getting clocked. Like, we know Ben White's going to step into midfield, Gabriel the same. Whether a midfielder's going to grab it off him is another thing. So it's almost like more of a pressing need. Obviously, you know, I can't not talk about players. I forgot about an individual. What are you saying for Pepe? Because it feels like we have the same conversation every year on our channels, bro. I'll be real with you. Like, where are you at with him? Nah, man.
Bro, I can't lie. I'm tired.
Trust
I'm
me.
tired, you know, not just of Pepe, just of the whole situation. You know, the whole situation, if we're honest, is not working. And you know what? Like, I like Pepe. I've been rooting for Pepe. You know, I want him. You know, when he scores, I'm gassed. I'm like, yo, that was our record signing. You know,
And this
what
is
I mean?
coming from the man who said we should have got Zaha instead. So again, he's not hating on Pepe.
Yeah, you know, I'm not, because I wanted Zaha. I say that all the time, that I wanted Zaha, but Pepe. You know, I've always sat there and thought, there's a player there, there's a player there. But do you know what? You can only say that for so long. And I'm not saying there's not a player there. At the end of the day, football is about fitting into what the manager wants at times. Sometimes you got to do what he wants rather than what you're kind of about. You got to maybe work a bit harder. You got to score more goals, you know? And I just think 2 years left on his deal this summer. You know, unless he tears it up from now till the end of the season, it's sad. I think you got to be open to offers for him. I really do. I think, you know, and if we hit Champions League, and I'm looking at, you know, Gnabry struggling to agree a deal, Sterling's got a year left.
Don't do this, man. I really want Gnabry to return to the carpet, man.
Do you know what I'm saying, bro? Like, if we hit Champions League and them kind of wingers are on the market, I think Arsenal got to cut their losses on him, because we're not one of them clubs we can have a £70 million player on the bench. We're not Man City. We're not Chelsea. It's self-sustaining. We got to learn now to sell players at the right time. If he rips it up, but I can't see him getting in the team, to be honest, because Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, they're always performing. So I like Pepe, but for me, if we hit Champions League, cut your losses, get what you can for him, go for a GNABRY, go for a Sterling, someone on that level, and keep it moving. But it's sad, really, because he is a decent player.
How much do you think you could get for him? Because on one hand, I know we spent 72 million or variables. I think you're lucky to get 20. I would hope for 40. You probably have to accept 20. You probably have to try finesse a loan with an option to buy, or a loan just to just try and do something. I would have to, obviously it was all incentivized. So I'd love to see the actual cost of what we've actually paid Pepe. We must have owed some bread for winning the FA Cup and things like that. But I don't know, man. And the thing that fears it for me is like, you know, he seems like, I don't want to say getting a look in, but he's playing again. Doesn't it feel like deja vu? Like this is the third season we've kind of done the second half of the season thing. And I mean, hopefully he tears it up and then something happens. Me and you go off and start talking about transfer news. We come back for the season to start, and it's almost like, what's happened with you, man? Now, like we thought that was the platform, that was the lift off, really. Do you actually feel like he's hard done by not playing as much as he could under Arteta? Because obviously Saka's doing his thing. On the left, you've got them options. I don't know where you stand on Pepe through the middle as a false nine, but do you think he's hard done by? I remember you making a great point on one of your live streams I was watching, is that you said something along the lines of, I can't remember specifically, but long story short, Pepe is not an Arteta signing. When he's not your signing, it doesn't matter if you spent a penny or 70. It's like, you're not my guy sort of thing. And it's weird because, as I said, I think Arteta likes him. I think he's actually made him more all-rounded. So it's baffling, bro. It's baffling.
Do you know what? And I agree with you. I do think Arteta wants to make it work with him, probably wants to put his arm around him and say, come on. But I just think the problem is the players in front of him, there's no space there for him. I think what's more positive now is I feel like Pepe's going to at least come on in every game. There were points he was sitting on the bench.
Remember, he's a player now.
Do you know what I mean? So at least he's coming on. But let's be honest, Saka on that right, he's dominating for us. He's one of our best players. And then Smith Rowe's top scorer on the left. Martinelli's, Smith Rowe's not even in the team at the moment. So
Smith Rowe couldn't even get his place. You're right on that. Tierney had to lose his place at a time as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think if you're the owner, you're going to look at it and say, got £72 million player there that can't get in ahead of a guy that came out of the youth team. So financially, it's not good business. And like you said, it's strange that always second half of the season, he kind of finishes well. You know, the FA Cup year, he was like, oh, look how well he finished.
This is it now, isn't it?
This is goals at the end. But then start of the season, he just disappears again. So I've said before, I think Pepe's a counter-attacking winger. You look at the way Lille played, soak up pressure, attack at speed, get the ball to him high up the pitch. One thing I say about Pepe, I think he's a very good finisher when he's in front of goal. When we want to play possession-based football, we're not that quick on the counter-attack in transition. Pepe, often when he's in one-on-one situations, he's not maybe quick enough, don't move things quick enough. So I think he'll have an impact between now and the end of the season. It wouldn't surprise me if he came off the bench a few times and scored the winner. I don't think he'll manage to get into the team as a starter. And like I said, with 2 years left, I think you'd be lucky to get 30 million for him, to be honest.
I'd say 20, man. I'd be even put that
even
20 million euros, fam.
Yeah. I mean, he's on 130 grand a week.
That's what I'm saying.
Out of the big clubs in Europe, how many of them are going to want to sign him? I don't know.
How many are going to take a chance on him, really? Probably have to from Italy or something.
Yeah.
And this is the jarring thing with Pepe, because obviously talent doesn't mean anything. But when I look at natural talent, I think he's up there in our team. I think him, Odegaard off the top of my head, Smith Rowe, natural talent, he's up there. Like he's got a lovely skill range and whatnot. And it's just a shame as to what's happening, but hopefully there's a change. I mean, the wickedest thing is I'd be open to him going. He's one that I wouldn't necessarily force out. For me, in terms of outgoings, Leno, Maitland, Niles, Bellerin, Torreira, these sort of man are the priorities to get rid. I'd probably commit Saka and Martinelli. I'd let Pepe's deal run another year at worst. With a year left, excelling, he could do his thing. As you mentioned, Champions League. Definitely where Arsenal's concerned. I'm not really a fan of making more problems before we address our role minutes. So Let's just get a centre mid, then a striker,
yeah.
then entertain
Keep
these
him for
guys.
another year.
Exactly, and let these men start going and things like that. If we move on slightly, again, we can't not have this and have you here. What's your opinions on Mikel Arteta? What's your positives and negatives that you can see within him now? Has he proved you wrong in any aspects? Because I feel us content creators, we get a lot of heat because I feel when we was doing this, me and you, when Arsenal was less volatile, we gave Arteta luxuries that are out of his control. We held him accountable, and you have to face that. So now that you're doing well, we have to give him his flowers. Like for me, I do like the building blocks I'm seeing with, as you said earlier, we're playing the same team. People are understanding what's going on. I'm seeing you back up your chat. Attacking, we're still not all the way there yet. We're still predictable, but we're looking all right. And bro, at the end of the day, we're fighting for top 4 in it. This is everything. I'm not going to praise you for it, but this is everything you should be doing. So where are you at with Arteta now at this point, even though there's no conclusions to be drawn?
No, like you said, bro, with me, I'm one of these people. I'll say things, but, if it goes the other way, I'm more than willing to, eat humble pie on it at the end of the day. We're Arsenal fans.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean? And I've been critical of Arteta openly, like said, I thought he was lucky to get the job. I think he's been given a lot more time than a lot of other managers got, considering how bad last season was. But I'll give him his dues. This year, you can see that Arsenal are building something. You can see we're moving forward.
Facts.
He's brought in players that have bought into what he wants to do.
Brought back in Martinelli as well.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, finally, brought him back in. We've got a team that I think the fans feel a lot more connected with. They want to be there. Before, we felt like we had mercenaries who just wanted a payday. Your Willians and them man there. So I believe he's building. What I've said with Mikel Arteta, because he does deserve praise for what we're seeing this season.
Facts.
I think as we're talking now, that if Arsenal don't get in the top 4, I think that will be a big disappointment. Now, even though at the start of the season, I didn't think we could get top 4, because to be honest, I thought City, Liverpool, Chelsea, they're way better.
And we just look like duds. Let's be real. Like there was nothing for you to get behind to sit there and say we're gonna get top 4, despite the fact that that is our challenge. They weren't like we was a mess. Internally, they could say one thing: we was a mess. You're not wrong. It was a mess.
And you look at United. I mean, United finished top 4. They signed Ronaldo, Sancho, Varane. So to me, I looked at the top 4 like that's gone before we even kick off the first, game of the season.
And then we collapsed.
We've got into this situation now. Obviously, in January, we were either very brave or very stupid. We'll find out at the end of the season.
And you've kind of taken it in this. I like this.
Do you know what I mean? We'll find out at the end of the season, because whatever we thought or think about Aubameyang, that's a goal scorer that has gone. Now, maybe that was right, maybe that was wrong. My issue was no replacement coming through the door.
So we've got the conversation to talk about, just like when we had no creativity and we let Ozil go. Now that Odegaard's there, it's not a thing. Facts.
Yeah, Facts. And so do you know what? I understand why they didn't buy anybody, because Arteta's basically saying who we wanted wasn't there, or we were going to have to overpay for somebody we didn't truly believe in. And we've done that in the past, and it's gone wrong.
It's gone pear-shaped.
I do understand doing that, but it's just sitting here now. You look at Man United, they're all over the place. Yeah, Ronaldo's in Portugal, Rashford wants out. There's problems. They've sacked their manager. They don't like the new manager. They're a bit of a mess. Tottenham, they've had to sack their manager. 1 week they beat City, the next week they lose to Burnley. West Ham look like they haven't got the squad to maintain.
Europe has died down already.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So I'm sitting here thinking, 4th is there. It's there for us, and this can speed everything up by 2-3 years.
Accelerate things, 100.
You get in the Champions League this year, we're looking at GNABRY and them, man. We ain't talking about
You're making me dream, man.
We ain't talking about Watkins. Go for the big boys, fam.
You're selling it to me well, bro.
Yo, I'm telling you, we'll be doing Champions League Tuesdays at the Emirates.
Oi, you're gassing me. You should get work in sales, bro. You're making me believe.
I'm telling you. So, listen, I'm in a situation now, listen, I'll give Arteta his flowers. Things are looking good. I'm actually starting to feel good about Arsenal, but that kind of worries me at the same time, because I've been there before and I get hurt when I do that. We've all been there, man.
Facts.
I like what's going off at the moment. I want to see them get over the finish line. The finish line to me is Champions League. You know what I mean? We got 1 game a week.
Facts.
Other clubs are in Europe. They're still playing FA Cup. They've got more things to deal with. I feel like at this stage we should be favourites for top 4. You know, I really do, and we have got hard games to come as well.
I'm scared of that. I'm scared of that favourites. I can't disagree because, as you said, we look the most healthiest. I just feel, you know, this is the first time in a while we've held on to that. We have to kind of relish the favourite tag. I want to see us make some ground. As you said, you know, we've got games to come. How do you feel about the games to come? Because obviously, for me, forget the big teams that we all know we've got. We've got Southampton, we've got Brighton, we've got Palace. These are bogey teams. And also, if we don't get top 4, would you say that's failure, ultimately meaning Arteta should or shouldn't get that new contract?
Oh man, that
tricky one, isn't it? Tricky one. Because I ask you, because obviously I want top 4. I think we should always fight for top 4. I think top 6, you back-to-back 8, there's nothing to be scream and shout about, but you could have saved face. I think if you get top 6, when the emotion and the hype and the roller coaster of fighting for top 4 goes, it'll be disappointing, but you could live with that. I think top 4, if you get top 4, you should get a new deal. But if you don't, it's not. I think the new deal should run in, because it showed me that maybe when it's crunch time, we still got a lot to learn. If we can't secure top 4, how are we gonna get to the latter stages of competitions? It's crazy.
Oh man, I mean, what a question. You know what? Yeah, I'm kind of. I would imagine, like you put in the question, if we didn't get top 4, my initial response would probably be like, my head's gone out. You know, I mean, I want this guy out. When the emotion calms down and I think about it, because of the owners we've got and the situation we're in, if we get top 6, there's probably no point getting rid of him, because number one, who you're going to replace him with? You know, all your Contes, he's gone. Zidane doesn't want England. Who are you going to go for?
Facts.
That's my first problem. And number 2, it's like, you know, maybe we weren't ready to get Champions League yet with this team. We don't want to go in the Champions League and get slapped. You know, there's no point.
It's slightly going to happen anyways, but I'm here for
it. Well,
it,
it's
man.
probably going to. Listen, I
want to be in the race, bro.
Listen, man, I'm dreaming of losing 5-1 to Bayern Munich. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
But listen, I have to also give him some, you know, balance in the fact that at the start of the season, I said I thought we'd struggle to even get top 6. So if he gets top 6, you know, I suppose it is progress. It's just now you've given me that little. Well, I'd say more than little. Like, we're sitting here now saying, yo, I think we should probably grab top 4. So it would feel like a disappointment if we got Europa. But I think it's how it happens as well. You know, if we just go, oh, Man United lose, Man City or Liverpool, and they keep slapping us, it's like, have we progressed that much? But as long as we're seeing the progress, you know, I'll probably get my head around it reluctantly, if you know what I mean.
And and you said it there, and I think that's one we need to approach with balance. I feel there's no right or wrongs. I don't necessarily agree with people saying 4th is an overachievement, because you don't get no trophies for 4th. That is the minimum. That's the whole point of why we've been sacking managers, to get 4th. That should be it. But at the same time, it is an overachievement. What I will say is, I'm looking back at January, whether it's at Arteta, whether it's because I'm not really on Arteta like that for January. Obviously, everything you've made comes from the manager, whether it's right or wrong to get rid of Aubameyang. I then look at Edu and I say, all right, regardless of if you've got a penny or 10 million quid to work with, or 10 billion, this is your season. This is where you need to make the loans or whatnot happen. Equally, I'm sure you saw it, that things were being agreed and they were being vetoed. So I'm going to look at the January period as one of, as you said, great stupidity or whatnot, because that's where I just feel if we got a striker, or if we kept Aubameyang, maybe he would have found form. It's like a new signing word to Wenger and all of these sort of things. So I don't know, man. And you said it there, and it kind of, I do see some Arsenal fans saying it. If we don't get top 4, you know, people will try and put a positive spin on it and say, man, well, maybe it's because we weren't ready. And it was almost a fact of, I remember a few months ago, it's almost like people were fearful of Arsenal getting top 4, because it's like we kind of accelerated the progress. Where are you at with that?
Nah, for me, you got to grab opportunities in football, man. Like, I think top 4 will be harder to get next year than it is this year. Man United will appoint a manager. You know, they'll give Conte money to spend. Chelsea will go again. It'll get even more difficult for me. So I think in football, you have to grab opportunity. And that's what Emery wasn't able to do. The opportunity was there that year. Top 4 or Europa League. Should have got top 4 first.
Missed out by a point, innit?
Before even going to Baku. Do you know what I mean? We should have been in Baku already in the Champions League, just chilling. You know what I mean? But we were stressed out, and that's what went wrong. So for me, Arteta's got to be sitting there now saying, listen, man, you know, like you said, that favourite tag, we don't need to worry about that too much. Just handle our business quietly and pick up the results. Like you said, I do have that element of, if we don't get it because we don't score enough goals, you will always have that question mark of, well, if we'd have signed a striker, would that have made the difference? That's what I hope doesn't come back to bite us on the backside, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, but the fact that the wide players at the moment and Odegaard are scoring the goals, you think, oh, well, LACA's going to have to assist his way to top 4. You know what I mean? Even if he ain't scoring, end the season on 15 assists or something, and maybe we'll get there. You know,
hey, I would love
it's
that.
going to be interesting. But we got a chance. But like you said, we got some tough games coming up. Tough games against teams that we, like you said, are a bit of a bogey team for us, and then some of the big teams as well.
I mean, the only thing left to ask you on that as well is, how do you feel about the running, Denka? Obviously, like, we've got, you know, again, I'm not a fan of games in hand and things, it's realized points, but we've got some tough games. I'm sure you probably know it off by heart now, because you've probably done it on your stream. Where you at with the games in hand? Is there a points tally that you need to thingy, that we need to try and hit? What kind of games scare you the most? I'm lulling, mate. Sorry, Curtis. I'm lulling because you think there's no one we could get better than Lacazette. Respectfully to Lacazette. If we're talking about fucking link-up play, then the bar's even on the floor. If you're looking for a striker that doesn't score goals, you can find that. I think two truths can... Bro, these people don't understand two truths can live in the same realm. We don't need to buy for the sake of it, but don't make out, is Lacazette a world-class player? Respectfully, no. So you can find someone. Anyways, I'm laughing at you. Respectfully, Curtis. Again, where was we in relation to the fixture list? It's crunch time, bro.
Yeah. For me, I'm looking at, I mean, oh, you're bringing it up there anyway. Yeah. So it's mad, isn't it, with Arsenal? Because you're almost like, sometimes it's the games that you're not thinking about. Oh, the first ones that spring to mind, you're going to look at United and them games, Liverpool. But sometimes I look at the, you know, Southamptons and Villa and Palace, and because these are teams that seem to take points off us at times. You know, I think Villa at one stage were beating us like,
bro, we're still over the line there.
Yeah, like, I tell you what, this next week coming up to the international break is massive. Leicester, Liverpool, and Villa in 6 days.
Bro, 3 games in 6 days, 6 or so days. It's crunch time.
6-7 days, yeah. What's that? Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Yeah, I mean, we've been playing 1 game a week for a long time. Now we're gonna have 3 tough games going into the international break. I mean, listen, every one of them games has got its own little, you know.
I'll tell you where I'm shook.
I mean, I tell you what, them last 3 games should be 3 wins, but they're going to be scrapping for their lives. But
shook. Buki, expect to win. Need to win. Like,
yo, there ain't one game that I can look at and say, yeah, man, that's just an easy 3 points. They just,
this is it. Where, bro? Like, big man thing. Where do you see 3 points? Obviously, it is what it is. But where could you say, like, all right, if we're gonna do this thing, we need to win? Like, where do you see it? Because I'm not scared. I'm scared of Leicester, but I'm gonna probably say Leicester.
We should beat Leicester, but it's hard there, and they've hit form now as well.
This is Vardy back. Know how the thing set.
Liverpool's just, you know, I mean, do you know what though? I'd like to see us have a go at them. Why not? Sure. We're at home. Have a go at them. They looked tired last night as well.
But then, man, they're trying to patent the league in it. There's 6 points or so
trophies, bro. You know what I mean?
Still, Gerrard might do his Dons a favor as well. Like,
I hate early kickoffs as well, man. 12:30. You know, I don't like early kickoffs for Arsenal. All them games are, I mean, Vieira, everything's got its own story there. Brighton's got to be free at home, but they've done us before at home.
These 3. For me, obviously United and Villa, but it's these 3 because they're the fixtures
exactly
I look
what you mean.
Bro, you look for them in August, away from playing the big teams at St. Mary's, Selhurst Park. Graham Potter likes to ruin our day with Mupay, that we might have to bring Guendouzi back just for that. All right, so boom, what would you say is a points tally then? You know, we get them X amount of points and we're good. What would you say we need to get? Or how many wins? Because I would say
I think I was writing this down the other day as well. I think we were saying we need to, let me get the table. I think we're saying we might need to get like 70 points, was it? What are we on? 48. So we've got 13 games left.
Someone do the maths.
7 wins, maybe.
Ooh,
7 out of 13.
All right, cool. Let's try to pick these 7 wins, man. Like, you got to beat Leicester.
Got to beat Leicester.
Do you know what? I'll back us at home. Do you know what I'd say? Leicester, for me, Leicester, Brighton. Leeds, Everton, them 4, I'd say I need them
That's
wins.
got to be 4. Then you got to try and pick up 3 out of the rest.
Got to try something at St. Mary's, innit? The man are a bit
St. Mary's, you know what I mean? Maybe St. Mary's and Palace, you got to get 1 win out of those 2. I think.
Probably got to beat West Ham as well, you know.
Even Newcastle. Newcastle will be safe by that game.
Yeah, let's hope they're on holiday mode, bro.
Yeah, I want them on holiday. Joe Linton chilling, you know what I mean? You need them wrapped up. Everton, like you said, even United. I'm not being funny. We got a good record against United at home.
Jammy against us though. Like even at Old Trafford, we shagged ourselves, bro. That's what when I think of the games. Obviously, we dropped more points, but when I think the games that I'm gutted that we didn't take points, United because we was messing about at Old Trafford. I'd say Brighton because we was never in it. Crystal Palace at home. Everton not holding on to points from winning positions, and Burnley because, well, you know, you need to break down that low block in it. So I don't know, man. I'm saying
it's a 15. Tough run, isn't it?
Man, I'm saying 13. I don't know, man. It all depends what's going on around us, like, because I don't expect to win all of these games. Do you know what? The next 3 games, bro, probably pattern our season. You know, that either gives us a push or we bottle it. Like,
I would say out of them next 3 games, we got to get at least 6 points.
Do you feel we're going to get nervous? Because, again, as you know, the table's volatile. As good as it's been for Arsenal, we kind of just moved into 4th. Obviously, if we don't win this week, as much as Spurs have been poor and we've got games in hand, they go above us. You know how the thing's gone. Other people start winning. The table looks different. And I've kind of been preaching that, okay, we look at the table, but it's going to volatile. People are going to make mistakes and whatnot. We need to keep a cool head. So, boy, like, what are you saying? Like, it's crunch time for these young lads, man.
It is. This is it now. Sink or swim, man. It ain't. You know what I mean? This is where the trophies are won or the top 4's won. You know what I mean? Make yourself the hero. This is where Saka can say, "Listen, man. You know that new deal? I need 120 grand a week on that because I just got you, man, in the top 4. You know, so." If I was them youngsters, I'd be excited. I say, listen, I'm making myself a hero. Saka, you can get in that World Cup team, like for England, even though you've been in the team, but they should be embracing it and excited. The thing with Arsenal, we're a bit of an up and down fan base. We go and lose 2 games in a row. It's crisis, you know, that's the thing. Can they handle that?
And that's the thing. And for me, as you said, again, not to call us losers or whatnot, but there should be an element of fearlessness because what is the worst fans could say? Things that we heard last season, things that we'll hear that you bottled it, you're not good enough, this, that, and the other. If you know them things are going to be said about you, you've got nothing to lose. Obviously, my last questions for you as we round up, people. For you, I wanted to ask you, are you looking forward to the summer in terms of transfer windows? Because it seems like we're not shopping in Aldi per se now. We're trying to go Waitrose and Marks and Sparks and that. Like, and what do you make of Hector Bellerin and Maitland-Niles' futures? It seems that Bellerin's probably doing a bit better. Ainsley ain't doing too much at Roma. Same contract length. Do you see Ainsley somehow getting brought back in?
I think first of all with Ainsley and Bellerin, I think Bellerin will get a move. He seems to be doing all right. The only thing I was reading that Betis might struggle with his wages because he's on about 100 grand, isn't he? You know, so
cut that.
I don't know.
Cut that.
Yeah. You ain't ready to see him back at Arsenal.
No, Tommy, I'm happy to see someone that just passes a 5-yard ball. Big up Bellerin, but allow it, man. Tommy,
I'm telling you, I hear you totally. I think with Ainsley, I mean, maybe if we end up in Europa League, he could come back as a squad player because from what Jose's talking about him, he ain't getting a move to Roma. That's for damn sure.
He sounded like he's meaty there, innit?
Yeah, man said he's not technically good enough and that. I'm like, no.
Where he said that?
Yeah, they were talking about his technical ability, saying it's below par and that. I said, nah, this guy ain't getting no move. So yeah, I think he'll be back at Arsenal, man, with a year left. Squad player, business, Europa League, hopefully Champions League. And then you said, what was you saying before? Oh, summer transfer window.
Yeah. Man. What are you looking for beyond the obvious? We know it's a midfielder, and that. Are you looking forward? Because it seems like we're talking a bit bossy. And to be fair, with Mikel Arteta and Edu, they kind of did say in the summer, we're kind of just looking after the foundations in next week. it might be a bit more pattern. We might punch a bit, and whether we got him or not, we did try and get Vlahovic where we were ready to spend the bag, really.
Bro, so we should be doing like videos this summer that are banging, because for Edu said, like you said, next summer we're going for them missing pieces. So I want to see £70 million striker. I want to see £40 million centre mids. You know, I want to see ballers,
the right guys as well.
Yeah, I want players coming in where I'm gassed, not like, oh, let's see if this guy's good. I heard he's good. I want certified dons. I want Gnabry holding up that shirt saying I'm back.
You're gassing me.
Gnabry, come home, bro. Yeah, I'm home. You can see the announcement video already. Little video of him when he was here before. Then he comes out, Kane Rose, shirt up, number 14.
Hey, I can't lie. You need to be a marketing and sales, man.
I want that Tuesday night Champions League.
I need this.
We can be what Salzburg was last night, you know, Bayern Munich's punching bag. I'm ready for it.
This guy. You're killing me. You're killing me, man.
Nah, man, I'm expecting big summer from Arsenal, man. Trust me, I'm expecting big signings.
In fact, last question, because it's kind of like we've been touching on it indirectly. Edu, man, like, what's your feelings on him? Has he proven anything to you per se? Because I mean, we do hear he wanted Emerson Royal and them sort of man, but at the same time, I got to give you credit on your part to play in this summer that we had. So is the jury still out on him? Like, do you rate him less than what Arteta is doing? Would you rather Arteta stay than Edu if it got to that? Where are you at with Edu?
I think the jury's out on him, because I don't think he's proved that he can negotiate a big transfer yet. You know, he signed Partey on a release clause, so there was no negotiation needed. One thing I'll give him some credit for, he's got rid of a lot of the rubbish that, you know, other people have let just stay around. But again, should he start picking up a little bit of money for these players? You know, even if it's 5 million here, 8 million there, we're paying people to leave. So, you know, I think the jury's out on him massively. But I will give him some credit, because, you know, some of the signings have worked out, whether he wanted them all. You know, we heard he wanted Neto over Ramsdale, Emerson over Tommy Asu. He wanted Aouar over Partey. So I've always said if one of those two gets sacked, I think Edu will be out the door before Arteta. If one of them went. But listen, I'll give him some credit for what's happening this season, and we need an even bigger summer. So the jury's out, but for now, I'll give him a little bit of credit.
Like you said, the jury's out, but I give him credit. I mean, I haven't seen enough to like pitchfork you, you know. Obviously, when I hear talks of, you know, you've had Arthur Melo's agent and Tellerman's at London Coley in January, you know, we heard in December that you met Jonathan David. You've got to be working in the background, and I'll praise and critique fairly. Obviously, Curtis, let them know where they can find you. I can't imagine no one don't know you, but let them know where they can find you. Let them know what content you've got to come. Make sure you're subscribing. I'm subscribed. It's just I'm using it in private browser here, folks, as you lot can see.
It's on the burner account, man.
Burn the business, bro. Do you know what it is? Because on my actual account, it fucks with the algorithm. Like, when I watch you, respectfully to everyone making content, YouTube starts suggesting some duds to me. Like, so I'll go on my burner account and just watch my people them, because I don't want to see random Joe blogs and that. Respectfully, obviously.
No, I'm on today 2:30. I only just listed it actually, but yeah, 2:30. I'm on today. And might do a watch along tonight as well, obviously Real Madrid PSG. But now, big up to you, man. Good to be back on the channel. We have to obviously make it a regular thing again, and yeah, keep doing your thing, man. Love the grind, man, and the hard work you put in.
Before I let you go, people get onto him. You know, he's had this Twitch channel for time.
Look at you, man. Why you gotta do this?
Oh no, I'm just looking, because I see the YouTube and that. Like, there's bare videos and that. Look, he's even got shorts and them thing there. What's here?
I'm gonna get going, man. Trust me, the Twitch gang, we're coming.
I mean,
I watch your Football Manager videos, man. We're coming, man.
I'm trying to do dirty. Where is it, man? You pull it here somewhere. Where is it?
It was there somewhere. No, it might not be there now.
A month ago, people. How many videos is that?
They're coming, man. They're coming.
Doing the Edu thing, selling dreams. He's selling dreams. Hey, get on to it,
man. They're on their way. Don't worry, man. I'm getting my FIFA team ready first, you know.
Hey, they're on to me about playing FIFA. I don't know if I want to play FIFA with these lot, man. Exactly, Curtis.
Man, I'm going FIFA, but I got to sort the team out first. I'm gonna get going. Trust me. International break after next weekend, then I'll have some time. We get going on there, man.
All right, hold him to that, people. Clip that up. Remember, he started capping. Don't let him cap. Don't let him cap, people. You see them man there start getting D square hats and they start changing, man.
Oh, here he goes. Oh, no.
They turn prestige,
God,
them
you
man
know.
changing. Like.
Oh, but this is why I haven't been on for a while. You put me under bare pressure.
I only did it to you because you don't give me an easy time, bro. At least I do it to you at
man.
the end, bro. We'll be talking normally, and you just start flaming me up at the beginning of your videos. At least I allow you to get comfortable with shit.
Oh my days. Nah, I appreciate it, man. I enjoyed coming on.
Minor, man, love for coming on. Like he said, people, you know, his Twitch, subscribe to the Twitch anyways. International break is going to get going. Curtis is live at 2:30. What are you going to be speaking about? I assume Arsenal related topics, etc.
Yeah, just Arsenal, man. I see this article. They want 6 players in the summer and LACA's deal and just a few bits and bobs, really.
So go and take it in, people. I think I'll be on YouTube about 3. So yeah, go and take Curtis's one in first. Then obviously come back over. If you've missed this live stream, go and take it in. I will upload it onto YouTube. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, by the time you listen, Curtis's name will be in the title. So you literally, it's as easy just clicking on that, subscribing to the thing, and then Bob's your uncle, innit? You're part of the DG Nation and the Curtis Shaw Army, really. So yeah, people, man, it's been a blessed one with Curtis. We've run slightly over. I don't want to take up any more of his time. I need to use the loo, people. I can't cap. So yeah, man, we're out, folks.
Later on.
See.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like.